remember me showing you these from Journée Cafe. Hold on. I bought a few home with me, as you can see. I should have done this when I'm not so tired. I look as tired as I feel. Hold on. So I bought some home with me, and I was going to do this one today, which is the lentil dal and the other pot. There's two jars. It was lentil dal and poultry curry. I was going to do that today, but I didn't have any yogurt and I want to make naan bread, so I decided I would do the chili con carne one today, which I did. And that was the chili con carne was okay actually, and with some rice. But I made some garlic bread from some homemade bread, which I sort of sandwiched the garlic together with 2 slices of bread, butter bread, and fried them in my new frying pan. And so it was like Mark's favourite fried bread with garlic in the middle, but it just went a bit soggy in the middle, so it wasn't really very nice. So it was an okay meal, but it wasn't special, which is what I find when I undo jars and do really quick stuff. But it was easy. These take, I can show you this way around now, even though it's the wrong way around. You take the lid off. So to get the lid off, you pull this hard and it releases the vacuum, and then you just put it in the microwave for 4 minutes. So it's very quick. It's called vrai et bon, which is true and good. And Mike was saying that he knows hotels that sell this for about 20 euros and they're selling it for 9 something. So their markups are really quite low. So that's what we had today. I cooked yesterday. I've got some photos that I could put on. I might do. I cooked yesterday. I did filet mignon de pork, which I marinated in caramel soy sauce and ginger, and that was marinating for me to do on Saturday. It's Monday today. Saturday, when I went for my pedicure. And that was marinating, and I was planning to do that when I got home. I'm pleased I didn't. We stopped at Journée Cafe, as you saw, and so we had our lunch there. So the meat went in the fridge when I got home, and then I cooked it yesterday. So it was filet mignon pork, and I'd made roasted vegetables the day before. Far too many roasted vegetables. Still got a whole pile of them in the fridge. So I took some out and put them into the tin that I had cooked chicken Kiev in. I'd made chicken Kiev, and so there was lots of garlic and butter in the bottom of the tin. So I put the vegetables in the tin that had that in, and then covered it with a savoury crumble, which I'd made using ground almonds, oats, chestnuts, butter, and some pine nuts thrown over the top. It was quite nice. A bit sweet. I couldn't work out why it was sweet, because the chestnuts make it sweet. But relatively low gluten, because there wasn't any flour in it. So it was sort of all low carb. Maybe it was non-gluten, no gluten, and lower carbs, I think, because there was no flour in it and it was oats. And, they're not so high on the glycemic index. Not that I was doing it for that, I was just doing it that it would make a nice dish. So I did that. I'll share some photos later. So that was Sunday, which was yesterday. We ate at the Journée Cafe on Saturday, and today I opened a jar of chili con carne and did it with rice and garlic bread. So it's been easy. Tomorrow will be easy. I've just got to make naan bread, and then I'll do this lentil dal and the poultry curry with that. And then I've done some shopping. I picked up some shopping this afternoon, so I've got salmon in the fridge, got chicken in the fridge. So I can cook a chicken. I still haven't got any potatoes. Keep forgetting to buy potato. Oh no, I've got a sweet potato. We'll have sweet potato. What else? So I had the pedicure. I'd got quite anxious about that because of the pain I'd been in, and the discomfort I'd been in ever since the pedicure I had back in the middle of September. I'm still struggling with this sacral area, and this it's more left sided, but actually I can't lay either side in bed. And I was really worried about, here I go again, you know, am I gonna move around in the wrong way? And just not looking forward to it. It wasn't easy, because I'm so short. So, and her couch, if you could call it that, it was those sort of massage beds, but it wasn't one that you could lower. So I had to climb up onto that, which was really difficult. And I had to sit with my leg. Not, I was careful, and it wasn't too bad. But she used an exfoliant on my ankles and my feet. This on my right ankle and foot. And she was really going for it, really going for it. In the end, it was burning, and I said to her, "I'd rather you didn't do that on my left leg. You can do my foot, but not on my left leg, because I think, I don't know. She was quite young. I think she was probably late 20s." And I don't think she realises that old ladies have got very fragile skin. I honestly thought my skin was going to get ripped off. It was like, oh my God, it was really getting quite sore. So anyway, we didn't do the left side. She just did a bit on the foot, managed to restrain herself. Then she was filing away at my nails. And then she said, one of my nails, I think you call it the quick, which is the nail bed, is a bit close to the top. It always has been, quite often in the years but gone by, I've nipped it by mistake. So she's filing away there and jumping, and actually, I think you ought to see a doctor about, you're quite sensitive. And I thought, the doctor's not going to do anything about it. Yeah, I am. I am sensitive. I'm the princess and the pea. I feel things. So anyway, I'm pleased with what she's done. They look nice. I'm happy that they've been done, and I will go back, but it's a bit of an endurance. And I said that at the time. I don't know what she thought about that, but for me it's a bit of an endurance. But at least I could speak to her and she could speak to me, and there wasn't this massive gap. She was saying that, because it was the store we went, the salon I went into in Caversham, she was saying a lot of those Chinese nail bars are fronts for money laundering. I was thinking, oh, well, okay, whatever, I don't know. But yeah, so anyway, I had that done. Pleased it's over. It's ridiculous, isn't it, what you get anxious about? But I had been worrying about it as the lead up to it. So it's like, oh, thank God for that. We were due COVID vaccinations on Wednesday, which I've cancelled or postponed, because it's just not a good day to have a vaccination for us on a Wednesday, because the following day we've got art, and I don't want to scupper that. So I need to rearrange I'm going to rearrange it for next Monday, but the date hasn't come up yet on DocLib, so I can't do that. But I'll do it for next Monday, because that gives us 2 days. Because one of the injections that we had, one of the vaccinations we had last year, I felt side effects from. And because we had them one each side at the same time, you didn't know what the side effects were from. This time they wouldn't do one each side. So I think it was the COVID one I reacted to. So that's what's going on here. I think tomorrow is Vicky, and Wednesday I've cancelled. Thursday is art, so I've got a mammogram on Thursday, so no, there won't be art. My mammogram's at 1:30, so that would be a bit of a push to get back for art, really, so there won't be any art on Thursday. The weather's turned colder now. It's going to be freezing overnight, and we've had really quite unseasonable warm weather, so they could suddenly go down to freezing. It's going to be quite a shock. In saying that, I have just sent Ronnie, who is collecting sleeping bags for the homeless, I've sent her 3 sleeping bags from Amazon, because I can't bear to think of people, I'm sitting around in just a shirt in my warm house with a roof over my head, with all of the comfort that I live with, and I cannot bear to think of people on the streets and not having a home, and just absolutely awful, So I was going to say to you that I spent my YouTube earnings on sleeping bags, I thought, well, I'd better go and have a look and see it. I ordered the sleeping bags. They came to 130 something. And then I went and looked to see how much I'd earn in the last month, and I'd earn about €40. So I think I've spent the last 3 months on 3 sleeping bags. This is more like um, I've seen, as I've been, swanning around on YouTube, the odd YouTuber talking about the algorithm has been manipulated or changed by YouTube. So a lot of big YouTubers are not getting the views that they did. And I think that's really sad. I watch really good vlog from Chinese Everywhere. Little Chinese Everywhere, who I've been watching her vlogs for 18 months or more, maybe 2 years. And she was questioning herself the other day about her vlogs because she's losing views. And it's like, her vlogs are better than they were when I started looking 18 months ago. It's really, really fascinating. And yet she's doubting herself because of what YouTube are doing to the algorithms. It's really sad. I'm not doubting myself because I know my vlogs are boring for a lot of people, so I don't expect loads of views. It's just the way it is. I don't really make a big thing of making big views. Trump and the Epstein files and the end of the shutdown and all of that bollocks, and the Epstein estate releasing 20,000 or more files. And suddenly Trump's flipped and said that the Republicans need to vote for them to be released. And people are sort of saying, well, why is he doing that? I read something a few days ago that talked about he's decided to investigate. I think, is it the Democrats? They keep blaming it on the bloody Democrats. It's unfucking believable. But they're going to investigate it. So, of course, what happens is if he opens an investigation then the files can't be released. So that's handy. So that might be what this is about. Might be why he's changed his mind and said, oh, you can vote. You Republicans can vote to release the files. He won't be doing it unless there's a good reason for him, unless there's a get out clause for him. Yet again, unbelievable. It's just and I'm seeing videos of ICE dragging people out of cars. I'm seeing videos of ICE going into Charlottesville, which is a very sleepy, quiet, unassuming town, suddenly, full of ICE vehicles and people being stopped and removed. And I don't understand. I just think it's what I'm seeing is awful. And alongside that, I'm reading a book called Ordinary People by Nick Alexander, where it's a book about somebody in the present, a woman in the present, and her relationship and her relationship with her parents and everything. And then alongside that, there's an interview going on with a woman about her life, being brought up in the Alsace and being overrun by Germans, and how she and her friend escaped, pretending to be married with a baby, escaping. And I'm reading that and I'm hearing horror stories about what happened to babies by the Nazis. I'm not really going to repeat it here. I read horror stories about that. So I'm reading that and thinking, what the fuck is going on with the children that are being left? What happened to that little baby that was in the back of the car, where they ripped the father out of the car and there was a toddler in the back? What happened to him? Where is he? Are they being cared for? I don't think they're being cared for. That's the most worrying thing, is that I don't think that the people that work in these holding facilities have a nurturing bone in their body. So I don't think any of these children are being cared for in the way that you and I would want them to be cared for. And that's really, really worrying. And I can't do anything about it. And I don't think you can do anything about it. I don't know what anybody can do anything about it. I think, the people have been protesting, which is great, people protesting, and maybe that's making a difference, but I just can't believe what I'm seeing. And it's, it's, the world is watching. The world wasn't watching the Nazis. The Nazis were doing what they were doing behind closed doors. There was no social media. There were no television cameras. There were no well, there were cameras, but nobody was watching. But the world is watching now. The world sees what you're doing. Yeah. So as usual, I've done my preamble, and then here I am going into the bit that I think probably what happens is that I don't know where to start with the Trump crap. I don't know where to start with that, and then it starts to come as I get rid of all the, this is what I cooked, and this is where we went, and this is what we've done. It's just the way it is, and because I don't have a script, and because I just talk and use this sort of spontaneously, that's the way it is. So I know a lot of you know that I do this. A lot of new people won't understand that I do this, but it's what I do, and that's where we're at, and that's where I am. And now I feel that I ought to clear up in the kitchen, because the dishwasher needs loading. That was a bummer the other night. The dishwasher put stuff in, loaded it up, but there's a spinny thing underneath the top shelf. There's a spinny thing underneath the bottom shelf that sprays upwards, and there's one that sprays downwards and upwards, I think, or whatever, on the top shelf, and it kept catching on the plates. We couldn't work it out. Every time we restacked it, it kept catching on the plates. And I went, that's pointless restacking it, because we don't ever have this problem normally. I have to restack it. So we had to unload it all, wash it all up. And this is like 11 o'clock at night. And I went, have a look at it in the morning, have a look at it tomorrow and whatever. But apparently the top shelf comes out and you can lower it. And it had dropped to its low position. Well, we didn't know it lowered and have never lowered it, but it had dropped to its lower position for some reason or other. Anyway, it's now not able to do that because somebody's done some cable ties on it. So there we are. Anyway, yes, I'm going to clear up in the kitchen, and I'll see you another time. Let's see what the vote does this week. I don't know what day the vote is, but I wanted to say we're living in interesting times, but wouldn't it be nice if we weren't?